Manchester is a charlatan and a liar. He wouldn't know a vampire if it bit him in the nose. That was David Farron. My name is Kevin, and this is History Goon. What is going on, everybody? I'm back. Actually, we're back. I have somebody with me this time. Hi, Sam.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. This is my boss, so this is going to be awkward.
We're all independent snowflakes.
Independent contractors.
That's
just
right.
Like other businesses that have blocked my content on YouTube, where they treat people that work for them like garbage, and then they're like, we don't have to give you insurance because you don't technically, I guess, work for us. But
Exactly.
You can't work for anybody else.
Right. You just need to just lay down and, collect welfare. That's what you can do.
And if I sound different from the intro, it's because I trimmed my mustache in between because it was driving me crazy. And so I already recorded my little intro thing, and I was like, yeah. And I kept like biting my mustache. I'm like, I can't get rid of it because then I look like, if I get rid of all of it, I look like a tall 6-year-old. So
I tell people all the time, if I shave the beard, I look like Cheeto Fingers toy collector from Toy Story. Or like I look like I should be 500 feet from a school.
Yeah. I actually worked for a very large multinational pest control company where I had to be clean shaven to go into people's houses to kill bugs and stuff. And I looked like a pedophile. So like, as soon as I can find a new job, I'm going to do this.
That's an interesting rule that they would have for a pest control guy.
Yep.
How odd.
You also had to wear a tie.
Really?
Yeah, which is really cool when you're trying to reach behind somebody's toilet and you're just constantly dunking your tie in the toilet.
Oh, that it reminds me of when I was in the late 1900s. I was believe it or not, I was a blinds and drape installer to the stars. So like the company I worked for, they sewed drapes for like multi-million-dollar houses, and then I'd go and install them. And the company, not necessarily the people, but the company had a rule. Anytime I had to go to the van, I had to take my shoes off to come in the house, and then I had to put them back on to go to the van. And you go to the van like 8,000 times installing drapes. I'm just glad drapes are out of style for now, because if they come back in style, I have such a skill set that I'll probably end up being a drape installer again.
Then you have so like I mentioned it on Facebook, and I believe I did on Patreon, patreon.com/1159media. Plug it every time I get a chance to. That I didn't put an episode out last week because I kind of had a week at work. Friday, my boss and I are working in one of the empty units where I am, and go to remove the toilet, which is fine. There's 2 toilets. Do the one in the back one, no problem. We didn't have the shop vac to like vac them out, so we just kind of like up quick and then onto the thing and to bring him out back. And I go to put it in the back of his truck, and I tipped it forward because toilets are kind of heavy. You like lean back a little bit, and I dumped water on myself, and I'm like, whatever, happens all the time. He's like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, it looks like I pissed myself. And then I dumped the toilet out, and it turns out somebody else pissed myself because somebody had used that empty unit as a bathroom with water off. So he looks at the snow, and then he looks at me and he goes, "You want to go home and change, don't you?" Yeah, I do. That'd be great. Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I just heard this comedian last night. She was like, I'm sure we all can relate. The thing that is really hard to deal with is when you almost crap your pants and you're at a mall and you're at a Forever 21. But did I really crap my pants? No. I was in the dressing room and I crapped their pants. I was like, gross.
Yeah. I was like, I came home and I took a shower and I'm getting dressed and I'm like, you know what? I could just not go back. I could just not. and I think they'd understand.
That you're in rare company where you can come home from work and say, "Someone peed my pants."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
And actually, people that work on the other side of it and the assisted living half of it can also do that. With like, yeah, it happens sometimes. It's like, man, it was just
Uh,
not a good week. I was like, yeah, I gotta not do anything because
oh
if I try to
man.
record tonight, I'm just gonna be really, really angry.
Wow. Well,
But you know,
you got a unique unique experiences there. You could probably just do a show just about your job. Like you could do a whole podcast just about your, like, it's
ab-
dirty jobs times 10
about
sometimes it
any
sounds like.
series of jobs that I've had because I've had a lot of them,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
I was just telling you, yeah, I used to do pest control, which is a hoot, especially when you come out of somebody's basement with just glue boards full of live mice and you just bang it against the side of your truck until the noise stops, and then you go home and think about that for the rest of the day.
Oh jeez. You're glue boarding mice.
Yep. Or
It's
when you get to the point where you've killed so much stuff at work that you have the thought of, this isn't even hard anymore. Uh-oh, I need to quit this job.
you and the soldiers at Abu Ghraib. Those
Yeah.
moments, 4 a.m. You're like, what am I doing with my
Oh
life?
no. This is why I drink beer in the shower. Ugh. When you get home and your wife looks at you and you go, she's like, how was your day? I don't want to talk about it. And then you just go away for a little bit and just
Listen to some Sarah
contemplate.
McLachlan.
Yeah.
Cry.
Cry in the shower in the fetal position. What am I doing with my life? The only thing is the money was really good. Like, I mean, we got paid every 2 weeks. The first week was your base pay plus your commission. The second paycheck was just your base pay. So I was bringing home like $4,000 to $5,000 a month. I'm like,
Dang. Just
that's pretty good. But then you come home and you're shaking from all the pesticides and stuff so bad that you can't pick
yeah.
up a fork.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, those are the jobs where it's not until like decades later you realize how harmful just the minute amount of exposure you had every day, you
yeah,
know. It'd be like being the maintenance crew for Chernobyl 20 years after. And your job is just to like scrub the big McDonald's arch that they made to cover it. You know, you're like, no, I just keep it clean. And you
yep.
don't think you're getting anything, but yeah, you are.
It is weird that I got 3 nuts now, but hey, uh,
I'm growing a horn. I just had to think about it.
actually, funny story with those guys. Um, the guys that were sent there to clean up were given the choice. You can either spend a month there cleaning, or you can go fight in Afghanistan for a year, because that was back when they were
Yeah.
getting the dog crap kicked out of them in Afghanistan. That never happened again to anybody else, but whatever.
Yeah, never. It was a one and done. It's not happening now.
No, no. Or for like, I don't know, 20 years when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know,
Man.
good times.
Yeah.
Good times and war crimes.
Have you done a history goon on Chernobyl?
Not yet.
That'd
Um,
be a fun one.
I have a pretty good base of notes for it. I just have to kind of like buckle down and finish it. But it's definitely on the list. But actually, little like behind the scenes, like how the sausage is made. We're recording episode 15 of season 2 right now, and I actually have the rest of season 2 up to episode. As I punched my microphone because I've done this before. I've actually got the rest of season 2 up to episode 20 scheduled, and
Really?
I'm off today and tomorrow. I'm probably going to record 2 more episodes today, just because I can.
That's crazy. Oh, that's exciting, man.
Yep.
You're ahead of the curve. I'm usually what's really funny is somebody will like send for my show, somebody will send me like, hey, this is a funny 911 call you could use maybe at the end or something. I'm like, yeah, thanks for sending it. It shows up like a day later in the show because that's how behind I am. I'm sure there's people that are like, I just sent that to him. Did he fast track it in front of all of us? No,
No.
I needed one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, so between seasons, I had oh man, I think I had like 5 episodes recorded and in the can, and then by like 2 weeks into episodes coming out, I'm like, I'm behind again.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this isn't good. Now I'm back to like weekly. Like, yeah, I need to need to get my stuff together.
I get
Stop,
comfortable with the banking, and I'll be like, when was the last time I uploaded one? I'm still that way with the NeverDaily. I'm behind right now, actually.
And then my
Oh,
other
here,
problem is,
fun fact to know and share. I use this one at barbecues. I say, how many people do you think died at Chernobyl? And they're like, oh man, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people. And I'm like, no, 2. On the day of, 2 people died. And it took them months to even hit like 28.
yeah.
It's crazy because the way we learned about it, it was like, Mount Vesuvius exploding, and it, killed a whole town. But kind of funny.
I think one of the guys that died was the dude that like leaned over the railing and like stared directly into the eye of Sauron, and it just like melted his brain immediately.
Yeah, that, and then I think it was a little while later there was a news helicopter that flew right over, and it just like da-da-da-da.
Whoops. The crazy part about that is nobody knew what happened until I think it was the Swedes. It was it was the Swedes that got a weird like radiation reading.
Yeah.
So it traveled like across Europe, and then all of a sudden somebody's like, that's weird. Huh. I wonder what's in between here and there.
I just watched a
Probably
documentary. We're doing a history goon on Chernobyl suddenly, but actually I just watched a documentary about these Japanese, old Japanese, like 70, 80-year-old women in off the coast of Japan on one of the islands out there. And they dive. They're divers. They dive for like sea creatures and mollusks and all this stuff. And then they sell it to the markets. And the documentary is really sad because there's they start receiving news that there's a wave of radiation that is headed their way from the Fukushima meltdown years ago, but it's moving at such a pace. It's like that security guard that gets crushed by the steamroller, and he's like, no, and so they're like going across the world. They're like, our way of life is going to die soon. It's going to kill everything. It's coming slowly. And people are like, well, is it killing you yet? And they're like, no. And they're like, well, let me know when, it's too late, but it's crazy. Sorry. This isn't my show.
Listen, I digress more than most people. All right. So let's hop into it here. We're going to go back in time to the mid 1900s, which I hate saying that because it makes me feel like I'm 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
The year was 1963. Our story takes place in the North London suburb of Highgate. The top song on the charts in England at the time was the Beatles' She Loves You, which, I don't like the Beatles.
You a big Beatles fan? Not a big Beatles fan.
No.
Yeah,
no.
Personally, I'll die on this hill. I think the Monkees are a lot better than the Beatles.
I haven't listened to enough of them to know, but I'm going to agree with you anyway.
Yeah, just because the Beatles, I don't know. Yeah.
They got overplayed, I think. It's just like, whatever. It's like Pink Floyd for me. There's so many people I went to high school with that were obsessed with it. I'm like,
I'm a picky Pink Floyd liker. I like The Wall, and I like Momentary Lapse of Reason, and you can keep the rest of the like stuff you listen to when you drop acid. I'll take those
that.
too.
I'll take Led Zeppelin instead. Like, any day of the week, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or the other one that I think is weird is when people are like, well, do you like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones? Well, first of all, those are 2 completely different things.
Yeah.
But the Rolling Stones, definitely, over the Beatles.
I got my opinions on the Rolling Stones.
Hit or miss on them.
Rolling Stones, for me, were one of those bands that they came around in that era when I don't think you needed to be able to sing well at all to become popular. And it was almost the opposite of that, right? It was like if you sang terribly, you might get more popular.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
One night, a young couple was walking down Swain's Lane, which I'm surprised I got that in the first shot. And that ran along the north side of the Highgate Cemetery. The cemetery was built in 1839, and it's the final resting place of around 170,000 people in roughly 53,000 graves. So you're doubling up quite a...
Yeah, they're laying on top of each other.
Yeah. And either that or I'm thinking they have like family plots where it's just like, hey, there's 12 people that all died of cholera or whatever.
Yeah,
like in this one hole.
In a pit. Yeah. Okay. That might,
We just dumped the entire cart into a hole and threw a rock on top of it. There you go. There's 36 in there. The Gothic Victorian era cemetery is sprawling, covering about 15 hectares, or for those of us that don't like the metric system, 37 square acres. It was originally planned to be part of what they referred to as the Magnificent Seven, which is a series of like 7 giant cemeteries around London. And I had to make note that I feel like I wasn't doing my autism. I was doing my autism a disservice by not explaining the difference between a cemetery and a graveyard. So anybody that doesn't know, cemeteries are generally larger and not really like necessarily affiliated with any one religious group or another. Whereas a graveyard is attached directly to a churchyard and usually quite a bit smaller.
Really? I didn't know that. So it's sort of like the motel hotel difference. There's an actual difference between cemeteries and I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep. So it doesn't actually have to even be like physically attached to church grounds, because there's like the one where my grandparents are buried is technically a graveyard, even though it's like out behind the elementary school, but it's basically just like random Christians of whatever denomination, like Catholics and Protestants, just chuck them all in the same spot. It's fine. They're dead. They can't argue about it.
Yeah. Somebody else is sorting it out upstairs.
I will never forget when I was probably 5 or 6 years old. We went to visit my great grandmother, and she lived at what's called the Village Manor here in town, but it's run by the church. Her and my mom, like I walked in with my mom and my grandmother, and she's, "You're never gonna believe this." My grandmother's like, "What, Mom? What's going on?" She's like, "They let a Protestant move in down the hall." I was like, I don't know what that means. And after getting older and like listening to a bunch of IRA songs, I'm like, oh, that's why she was angry.
Yeah, that's why grandma was pissed off. It's like we didn't grow up in an era where we even learned about the controversy about like JFK. Our high school education was like JFK was a really good president. But at the time, people were like, they're like, he's a Catholic. We can't let a Catholic be
what are we
president.
doing?
Like
next thing you know, we're gonna have Italians in here too. We can't do that.
It was crazy.
I still don't think we've had one yet.
An Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think we have. I mean, we may, well, I don't know what you'd call it. Marco Rubio's not Italian. He's a Cuban, right?
Yeah.
So
we got to get on that.
Yeah, we got to get on that.
Yeah.
DEI
get like
all the way.
Walnuts running for president.
Yeah.
Throwing chairs. Oh my God, that'd be funny.
A lot of this, if he's going to make a point, he's like, ooh.
My son does that. He's 3, and we're like 0% Italian on either side of his like genealogy, and he does the hands, and I'm like, okay, listen, like, I don't know where you picked this up from, but it's adorable. Awesome. Keep doing it. He does that, just yells, "Meet the ball." I'm like, yes. Yes. I'm raising you to offend people. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to get so many calls when you're in school that you're like, your son, yeah, I know he said this, but you can't blame it on me. It's also his mom too. So.
Yeah, there you go. There's always 2 to tango when it comes to development.
He swears a lot. Yeah, that could be from either one of us. It happens. There we go. In 1845, when the cemetery was first kind of starting to pick up, a single plot cost about £5, which sounds like a good deal until you realize that the average laborer back then made about 15 shillings a week, and it's 20 shillings per pound. And because I am a mathematical genius, that is approximately 530.53 pounds in today's money. But again, fake currency is not allowed here in History Goon, so that's $710.35 in American. And can I help you? Okay.
Oh.
Go. I know you're awake now.
Got a companion.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
Is that a black lab?
He's a black lab. I don't know what else mixed.
Okay.
But I got him for doing house repairs, actually.
Really?
A friend of mine, she runs a dog rescue, and she has anywhere between, well, she has 4 of her own dogs, and then at any other given time, she has another like 10 to 12 that she's adopting out. Yeah. And of course, dogs chew on everything. So I went over and I did like, I don't know, 80 hours of drywall and door repairs. And
Oh.
she's like, hey, do you want a dog? And I'm like, sure, why not?
What? Yeah.
So I ended up with this moron.
Ah,
Okay,
cute.
can you
Good
go,
dog.
please?
Good boy.
Can you go? Okay, hold on. By the early 1850s, they were burying about 30 people or more a day there. And considering like the size of London, that might not sound like a lot, but the reasoning is, for fun, like poor sanitation and waste management, which led to contaminated water supplies, frequent outbreaks of cholera and other infectious diseases are pretty common. Overcrowding, bad living conditions. Obviously, it's like people in slums and whatnot that are also spreading illness, and people aren't washing their hands. And of course, lack of access to medical care because it's the 1850s and we're still like putting leeches on people to, see if that works. You can ask your doctor if dying from being in London in the 1850s is right for you. I would recommend asking a professional first. Now, we do actually have a pretty interesting guest list in this cemetery. You've got Karl Marx, who became a good communist March 14th, 1883. In a massive plot twist with just restaurant quality irony, he's buried under a bronze monument that, if it was built today, would have cost $28,414.96.
Really?
Yeah. So, yeah, capitalism's dumb, but you know, 30, just a really solid like used car. Throw that on top of me for a gravestone. Then just a headstone's throw away from him is Herbert Spencer, who's the guy that coined the term survival of the fittest, which it's kind of funny because he's dead. Yeah. And another surprising one there is George Michael, who's tucked away in a private little spot where he can carelessly whisper all he wants.
Really?
That was, yeah, I think that was lame. I'll stop now.
I like it.
That was a bad one. So back to our young couple. They stroll along and something catches their attention from just behind the fence of the cemetery. What that something was a 7-foot-tall, floating grayish creature with a ghoulish face. The couple, no doubt, obviously, I would probably have done this too, took off running just to get away from there. The next sighting would be only a few days later, as a man walking his dog past the cemetery saw a figure sliding over the wall, quote, like black treacle. And I had to look this up because I had no idea what the hell black treacle is. It's a thick, dark sugar syrup containing cane molasses to create a somewhat bitter flavor. I think it might be kind of like one of the base ingredients of, what's that stuff called? I know it's like Vegemite in Australia. I can't remember what they call it in England. I think it starts with an M.
Marmite.
Yes.
Marmite?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Just more proof that English food is a war crime. It's like, it's 2026. The Luftwaffe is not flying overhead anymore. You can cook. You can turn your lights on. You colonize the country with all of the spices. Learn how to use them. It's not hard. And I say that knowing that one of my best buddies in the whole world and a admin on my Facebook page is very, very English.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, whatever. He picks on him too. He lives in Scotland, so he picks on the English too.
Yeah.
Halloween 1968, in the nearby Tottenham Cemetery, a grave was opened up and the body inside was staked in the chest with an iron cross, which sounds way more metal than it really is.
Yeah. Wow.
The identity of the people involved has never been discovered, but it's believed that the desecration is connected to the events surrounding what would become known as the Highgate vampire. By 1969, all of the sightings would draw the attention of members of the British Occult Society and, I kid you not, amateur Wicca enthusiast David Farron.
Oh.
This story is about to get so weird. And this is why I gave you the option. It's like, do you want to do botched executions or nerds arguing in the cemetery?
Yeah, vampire nerds in the cemetery just rang bells with me.
It's so good. our first combatant in this epic nerd fight, David Farrant. I found a thing on YouTube called In Search of the Highgate Vampire. And of course, being a nerd for stuff like this, I automatically thought In Search of, and I was like, oh my God, it's the old Leonard Nimoy series. They actually did something about this. No, it's some like cheap ass 80s style documentary that David Farrant himself made. And just
really?
like, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Farrant describes the vampire as being tall, thin, and gaunt. I mean, like a vampire, obviously.
Yep.
Wearing a long gray cloak, having hypnotic eyes that could cause harm to victims. Very mysterious.
Yeah.
After interviewing witnesses, Farrant decided to finally go find the vampire on his own.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go.
At midnight, of course, it has to be at midnight. You can't go at 11:30. You can't go at 1 o'clock. You have to be there at midnight because it's a cemetery.
Yep.
You know, one night in 1969, he entered the cemetery and he caught out of the corner of his eye, allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, because this is all coming directly from this guy, who in no way, shape, or form is like at all trying to make any money off of this whole thing. Catches out of the corner of his eye a tall figure around 7 feet tall with red eyes. Quote, at first it was so real I thought it was somebody dressed up as a vampire, but the area turned icy cold as if I stepped into a refrigerator. More important still, the figure seemed to be draining me of energy. I seemed to be losing control of my faculties.
Wow.
Okay. And again, I pick on these guys as someone who is super into this stuff. I love the supernatural. I love the paranormal. That was kind of like an alternate topic line for like what I was going to do for a new show. These guys are dorks. Huge dorks. He also said he was, quote, under intense psychic attack by the monster, but he recited a Kabbalistic invocation that repelled the bloodsucker. Sure. Okay.
Sure.
We'll go with that. Sir, this is a Wendy's. During his research, he found that the tall figure wearing a hat, it's got a hat now though, had been seen walking through the wall of the cemetery. He also claims, but admits he has no proof that this graveyard is built on ley lines that are the site of a former castle. So,
okay.
Are you familiar with like what ley lines are?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially with like castles and over there, it seems to me at least that they'll they think they know the whole perimeter of a castle, and then they'll like do ground penetrating radar, and they'll find out that there was like a whole other wing.
Yeah,
that kind of a thing.
Yeah, and then the whole like ley lines thing where you work in like this is a magic line that runs from here all the way across to whatever, and they're connected somehow, and like that's how the pyramids work, and that
they're intentional. The lines that may define the supernatural meanings or the the calendrical meanings or the stars.
Yeah. I first learned about ley lines from Hellboy, which is fun. He then proceeded to talk for about 5 minutes about everything else that stands on these ley lines, including a home for unwed mothers from the 13th century, and a pub from the same time frame. And it still blows my mind that England and Scotland have bars that are like 1,000 years older than our country.
Yeah.
It's insane. But, you guys don't have any SEC championships or World Series wins. So suck it.
Suck it.
Win a Stanley Cup and then come talk to me, a bunch of losers. That goes for you too, Canada.
Yeah.
You guys have won one in my lifetime, and I'm 39 years old. So well done. I was 6 years old the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Good job. And I did make a note about how he kind of. So this guy just like when he's talking on this, he'll just stop and randomly stare into the camera So I'm assuming this is a pub that he's spent a lot of time and money in. Just like, oh yeah, that place. He goes on to say that a tall, dark figure has been seen in all of these locations on the ley lines, and when it's seen in any of these locations, the clocks stop.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Not a lot of clocks in cemeteries, but
Yeah.
I've spent enough time in bars where I've thought the clock has stopped, but no, that was just poor decision making.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because, like, sometimes you think about like what would have had to have taken place for one person, let alone it to be common enough knowledge that enough people are like, "Hang on, did you
Wait a
notice our
second.
clocks just stopped when?"
How does this happen?
Curious.
Magic?
Devil.
This is the devil's work. So at this point, I'd kind of like to say that I couldn't find much on David Farrant's early life, but as I was working through this, he mentioned that the cemetery was, so while he was working through all this stuff, he also mentions that he had been to the cemetery a lot as a child and like in his teenage years, and his team, in air quotes, found this to be a site of, quote, professional Satanists.
Oh, all right.
I mean, I've met some amateur ones. I've never met anybody that like went pro with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. How hard is it to go pro? Like, what are the criteria? You know,
What's really funny is I don't know if you've ever been to Salem, Massachusetts.
no.
So if you go there, they have, I believe it's the national headquarters for the Church of Satan is in Salem.
Really?
They are closed on Sundays.
No way.
Swear to God. Yeah, we were there, and like we were wandering around town, and I was like, it popped up as one of those things to go check out. I'm like, oh, cool. And it's this like, it just looks like a 2-story house. It's like a gray building with black shutters, and it's got the big sign on the door. And I'm like, oh, cool. Let's wander in and check it out. And they are closed on Sundays.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bunch of losers.
Funny you mentioned that. I one of my good friends who has a podcast in Canada, used to be called the Nighttime Podcast. He's a member of the Church of Satan. I had him on the 911 Calls podcast. I learned a lot. You know, it has less to do with Satan and more like kind of poking the finger in the eye of laws that don't make a lot of sense is the way I'd put it, you know.
What was the way I heard it referred to? Edgy atheism.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's a good way to,
same thing, I guess. You know, it's like you do you. That's fine, whatever, as long as you're not like, you know, sacrificing kids or anything. But I think you have to be like in Congress to do that.
Yes. Yeah. You can be a member of the Church of Satan, but you have to have a political, a certain rank or a.
You got to have some morals. I mean,
yeah. Yep.
Anyway, we won't talk about that list because I don't want to, you know. I've already mentioned things about the Clintons on here before. And I'm like, well, now that we're both on here.
Yeah, you gotta walk softly. They carry a big stick.
Yeah. We'll have like a CIA or a Mossad hit team in one of our houses in like the next 40 minutes. Like, oh, awesome. So I was kind of starting to lose this guy on the documentary. And then when he mentioned the professional Satanist thing, it pulled me right back in. They claim to have found burning black candles, satanic markings on the floor of tombs, and a tomb with stained glass windows with a pentagram on the floor that also had the signs of the moon, Saturn, Mars, and all that, which he claims are very potent combinations for these satanic rituals.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. Like, I don't know anything about this. We'll go with it. You're the expert. So he also says that there was a marble bust in the tomb that they were using to commune with the devil himself.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I mean, I come from an area with a lot of marble in it. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody. I mean, I know that like quartz and limestone are supposed to be like magnets for the supernatural or whatever. I don't know where marble falls into that, but
I always wonder, it always made me curious, like when something like that happened, or you'd read the Bible, you know, and it's like Moses throws down his rod and turns into a snake. And then all the all the Pharaoh's dudes do it, and they all turn into snakes. I'm like, did somebody tell them? They're like, okay, here's what so you get a rod and you dip it, like the process to make a rod that does that, or like marble that summons the devil. Was it like somebody from hell presented them with the recipe, or did it just happen happenstance? Like you're a marble worker, chink, 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 and you just hit it just right. You like accidentally make a pentagram and suddenly, hello. And you're like, how'd this happen? And then they document it,
God, not quite.
Go the other direction. Go south.
Colder.
Hotter.
Warmer. Hotter. Yeah, and then there's a lot of weird stuff like that. You're like, do you accidentally discover witchcraft, or
do you stumble upon it? Like I could get it with like the genie in the bottle, like you polishing it and suddenly a genie, but a lot of this stuff, there's a lot of it's like 2 pinches of this and 4 handfuls of belladonna, and it's too hard. It's too hard. You can't accidentally make some of this stuff,
What aisle in the grocery store are newt tails in, or do I have to like go harvest them organically?
And it didn't work if you just tucked a newt in, but
no, it's
just the tail.
You put the whole thing in, it's too much.
Yeah, it's like
I could imagine like people now would. Oh my god! So in Vermont, right? There's a lot of crunchy folks. We'll put it that way. That I could just imagine trying to do witchcraft. Be like, my co-op doesn't have newt tails. I don't know where to find them. I don't know where to hunt for tofu.
If you want a newt tail that gives the best timbre to your coffee, oh my gosh, listen here, Bernie.
Or like the other ones that I think I've mentioned it on here before. The ones that drive me nuts is when you're trying to find a recipe. And you have to you're online and you're reading it and you're like, well, my great grandmother used to put so much of this in just for them. I don't care. Tell me how much of what and how long to cook it all for.
I don't need the narrative.
Dry and wet stuff separate. Just I don't care about your grandfather's lumbago. Just give me the recipe.
Exactly.
Why is this recipe page 30 pages? Oh, that's why.
It's a story. It's a story.
It's got your family tree in it. I don't care.
That's why there were so many apothecarists back then. It's because in order to read a recipe, you had to take a day.
Then they're just like, I'm sick of this guy's shit. This witchcraft.
I'll just stick with the lumbago. Thank you.
Burn him. So he goes on to say that the vampire hadn't been there until after the Satanists started everything.
Oh.
So there had been no sightings for hundreds of years before this. It was only after they started.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that seems kind of weak, right? If you're Satanist, you're trying to get a hold of the devil, and somehow all you get is a vampire. Kind of amateur, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the Western family version of Satan representative. It's like a Kirkland signature version.
Have you ever seen Little Nicky?
Yes. Yeah, it's funny.
Why does my Coke taste like Pepsi? Ah, damn it. So 10 minutes previous to the in this thing, he says that this thing has been there for literally hundreds of years before the cemetery was there, because it was just on the ley lines, but it wasn't there until the Satanists were there, but it was there the whole time.
Yeah, no, yes, and no. Yes. True, false. Yes.
Yes. You could almost see him having a stroke.
You can see that playing out in court too. He says all of that, and then the one lawyer just goes, "See, case closed, right, guys? My eye doth not deceive me."
I know he didn't plead insanity, but can we throw that in here now? Because either that or just I'm gonna walk away from this and let him represent himself. He and his team performed a seance to try to communicate with the whatever it is that had entered the cemetery late that night. They actually brought a medium in with them. They drew circles on the ground and placed candles and water around the whole circle. They had to abandon the ceremony due to media attention, though.
You'd think they'd want it, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's camera shy. No. So obviously, somebody with a camera shows them, and they just scatter. But they would return. They returned a year later and performed a quote unquote successful ceremony, but it had disastrous results. They went back with the same people, the same medium and everything, and they decided to stand in the summoning circle, which is the area where the who's a what's it is supposed to be summoned into.
Uh-huh.
The medium touched her throat and said the area turned cold. It was being enveloped by a blackness, and she was being strangled also.
These were really fun times. Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff doesn't happen today. You don't.
No, everybody
Well,
blames the internet. It's like, yeah, it is. It's the internet's fault. There's nobody out there just being weird in public.
I don't know about you, but when I went through like divorce mediation, I didn't have a veil of blackness show up or any
No.
like it was just sitting in a meeting. Like I could have used a veil of blackness. So boring nowadays.
Yeah, I got nothing. Like, and we got along and stuff. Like, this is lame. We're supposed to like hate each other, I thought, but no, we still talk. So,
Where are the minions? I thought there were minions.
I don't even smell brimstone, whatever that is. Like, just smells like potpourri in here. And also he gets arrested in 1973. When the London police they found David Farrant naked beside a plate of glowing embers in an abandoned house in 1973. He told them he was conducting a Wiccan ceremony to rid the place of hauntings.
Well, it
Sounds like-
rid the place of everybody, really.
Yeah, it sounds like he fell asleep drunk with a burning plate of whatever. Like, no, there's ghosts trying to get rid of the demons. Are the demons in the room with us right now? Yeah, they're all over the place.
Who ate my shepherd's pie? Who replaced it with coals?
I don't even know where my pants are. So he's hauled before a judge and jury, and he was actually exonerated and let go with just a warning, like a little slap on the wrist, like,
Really?
quit being strange. That's not going to happen. Spoiler alert. Police detectives had roughly, quote unquote, roughly interrogated a friend of his. So he mailed them voodoo dolls with threatening messages attached.
Oh, okay.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
A few months later, he's back in court, this time suspected of grave desecration. So he's stepping it up. He's hit that, what do we call it? With serial killers, where they escalate.
Oh,
He's escalating.
Yeah.
So he's desecrating graves. But not only that, the police discovered a headless corpse propped up in the front seat of a local resident's car.
Oh.
Somebody else came forward and admitted that they had put the body in the car as a joke.
Was it alive when they did it?
I don't think so. I think it was somebody that they dug up.
Oh, I see. I was like, because that's not a joke.
No. I mean, I remember, oh man, it was probably like, I was still in high school, so it was probably about 20 years ago. There was a guy way up north in, I don't remember where it was. It was like up towards the Canadian border.
Yeah.
That got arrested for grave robbing because he got caught in his car smoking weed out of a human skull.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm like, why though? But why would you do that?
That's a curious habit to have.
Yeah.
Keep that one to yourself.
I mean, I've seen people do that with anything else, but like a skull is kind of getting creative.
Yeah.
It's a weird one, but so they find this corpse in the car and they ended up taking a bunch of pictures of that and the vandalized ground that was found. And they kind of put two and two together that he's the one that dug up the body. And then when they had him arrested and bring him in, he also like kind of admitted to being the one that sent the voodoo dolls to people. He's like, I don't know who did that, but it sounds pretty awesome.
I wonder.
A really cool guy would do that.
It's so funny that somebody else admitted to putting the body in the car as a prank, but did they clarify? Did they also was it already Sans head, or was that not like they were like, but it had a head when we did it.
Some damn kids came by and stole the head. No, I think if I remember correctly, I think it was actually like one of his people in his like inner circle that was like, oh no, I put that there as a joke.
Okay.
Like not trying to send a message or anything.
Yeah.
So the judge actually sentenced him to it was weird because they worded it as more than 4 years in prison. So not like however long, they just said more than 4 years.
That could be 400, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like it's like the metric system for a prison sentence. Like we put him in for 4 metric years, which is like 2.5, like regular years.
yeah.
2 years imperial. Sorry, get my measurements correctly. But yeah, he says that like, yeah, I sent the voodoo dolls, but the vandalism and the corpse desecration, that was the Satanist. That wasn't me. That was already like that
Interesting.
when I got there, you know.
Huh.
But then I think now we need to move on to meet our challenger, fighting out of the still a giant fucking nerd corner. And this is a title that this man gave himself, the Right Reverend of the something or other made up church, quote unquote, Bishop Sean Manchester.
Oh,
He works as part of the Ministry of Exorcism. So
okay.
I can hear like women hearing that title and just like, oh my God, he's so cool. I need to marry this man. He's a real badass. He's a bishop in a church that doesn't exist, and just
I think all the kings had one back in the day, but he's a couple centuries shy, of when it was cool.
bring me my minister of exorcism. You're what? That guy, the weirdo that
The
hangs
one
out outside.
the one with the potions.
The man who digs latrines. Yeah, that one. Whichever. Just bring me one of them.
Same.
The thing I watched on YouTube, he keeps he keeps saying, quote, the V word instead of vampire.
Like it's a bad word?
Yeah, like it's a slur. We can't call them vampires anymore. They don't like that.
Yeah.
There's going to be somebody on Facebook calling me a racist. Which, I mean, I guess technically, I mean, if they are a separate race and you don't like them, that's fine. But
Yeah. But they're not.
No.
So we should be okay, right, guys?
Yeah. It's like, well, I mean, scientifically, they're probably just an offshoot of humanity if you want to get into the whole.
Yeah.
I've got a whole book. Yeah. And it's weird. I bought this book. It's like the vampires guide, like field guide to whatever. And it's essentially just like vampire lore from every country on Earth.
Oh.
With like actual like historic context for it. And I'm like, this is really cool. And then it turns out that it's a pen name by a guy that is one of my favorite authors of all time. And I'm like, that's why everything that he mentions in his books with vampires makes so much sense with this book.
Okay.
So to start here, Manchester's vampire knowledge seems to be based solely on him reading Dracula like repeatedly and other works of vampire fiction. The family of Bram Stoker could probably sue him and win for public domain if they wanted to, with the amount of stuff that he just stole from this. And actually speaking, complete sidetrack, Jonathan Mayberry, who's one of my favorite authors of all time, he's the guy that actually wrote the vampire book that I just mentioned, but it's his like pen name, just released a new book where he goes back through time with like, I don't want to spoil anything, but one of the older books, it's like a special operations like military group that are doing all kinds of like weird. It's like the first few books were mostly supernatural kind of stuff, but it's all science based.
Yeah.
And they run into vampires. And through that book, they do like these little back and forths where you go back to the Crusades, where you find out where these two groups were created. Where you have the Assassins, who I actually just covered the group that is actually based on in an episode not too long ago. And then the Catholic Church's response to having this group of like Muslim, like secret assassins. They didn't have anything like that existed in Europe at the time, so they had to find something. And they end up finding vampires.
Oh.
They're like naturally occurring vampires. And they're just like, hey, we're going to use you, even though we think you're evil. But if you do this, you can be redeemed and you can go, and the new book, it's the same group back, but he's revisiting somebody hunting the vampires down through history in like the little interludes as things are going on in current time. And he hits like all of these like crazy actual historical things, and like this is why this happened. Like um, there was a plague outbreak in London, but it's not caused by the rats or the fleas. It's caused by these guys bringing it in, and then maybe I set the Great London Fire to get rid of them.
So
The,
it's alternate history
yeah,
in a way. Okay.
it's so good. This one is Red Empire's the name of this book, but for a little bit, like in the middle, he just like switched over to like technology and people using it in awful ways. Like that's why I'm like I read this book way too many times. I can't do the whole electric car thing where they're just like they have these little interludes of like, oh, so and so is doing this, and they're talking to one of their friends while their car is driving, and then all of a sudden it just starts accelerating and the brake's not working. It just like crosses lanes and slams into a UPS truck, and you're like, yeah, that seems completely accurate, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, back to me. I'll stop being a nerd and we'll get back to these nerds.
Well, I'll add one thing to that, the nerdy thing. And I feel like a foil head with this, but recently they just shut down all of the mandates for cars, for newly manufactured cars. I don't know if you've been in a newer car lately, but I was in my friend's car and we got to a red light and the car turned off. I was like, why'd your car turn off? And he's like, it's this new auto start thing. And it's like, I'm like, really? So it turns itself off, but it knows how to turn itself back on. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, so as long as somebody has a satellite link to your car, you're not going anywhere. And then he's like, yeah, that sounds really conspiracy theory. I'm like, well, okay. All right. Well, let's go to Dunkin' Donuts.
But at the same time, there was, I can't remember what state the guy was from, the congressman or a senator that put forward some bill where they wanted vehicles to have kill switches built into them.
Yeah.
That could be controlled where like, say, it's for like if your vehicle's stolen, we can just and kill it.
Right.
No, it's so that when the grid goes down, you can just shut everybody's cars off and lock
what
us
I'm
in.
thinking. Also, I think one of the arguments that was made for the auto start, the starter, right, the one that's in all the cars right now, is they're like, oh well, it's a fuel efficiency thing. If the car's off while it's at a red light, it saves emissions. I'm like, actually, the thing that kicks out the most emissions when you start a car is the initial burp. It's like 5 minutes worth of a car idling. I'm like, so no, that's really not. What's the real reason? I'm a foil head though.
No. You're onto something. Like I spent a long time working at a dealership, and the brand that I worked for had it, like if you bought it from 2021 up to current, it had them in it. And the master technician there started off as a master tech at Ford, and then they scalped him for Nissan, which and he's like, yeah, as soon as they started doing this auto on off thing, he's like, I've never replaced more starters in cars than I have since they did that.
Yeah.
Because it puts so much stress on the starter and the battery.
Totally. It's wearing it out.
And
crazy.
The reasoning for that, and they're doing away with that. And the reasoning is because there was some kind of like a government program where you got so much money per vehicle to offset the cost of your manufacturing or whatever. And it was basically an extra $100 per vehicle that they were getting to put this in there to offset the whatever. And then the current administration was like, that's dumb. We're going to get rid of that and just change the fine from $100 to $0.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool. We'll just stop putting them in then.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like, oh, that's a cheap purchase for total control over a citizen's vehicle. Like $100. Hey, I'm in.
Yeah, I've got an episode all about stuff like that I could do too.
Ooh, that's good stuff.
I like my government conspiracy stuff. It's fun.
It's all a conspiracy until it comes out, and then it's always so old that we're like, oh, really? That happened? Oh, weird. Yeah. Oh, really? We gave everybody gonorrhea? What? Oh, weird. Anyway. Let's go to Dunkin' Donuts.
We would never test stuff on black people, in the South, ever.
Exactly. No, we wouldn't. It's crazy.
If you get bored, look up Rex 84. That'll keep
Rex
you busy
84?
for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the old Alex Jones go-tos that people are like, oh, he's crazy, and then you're like, oh no, they actually use parts of that. Oh my god.
It's crazy. That guy's been the scout team on so many things, but the way he says it sounds so, pardon my French, it sounds retarded.
Yeah.
So you're like, the special guy's talking about gay frogs again, and we all laugh. But then we're like, they did it. They did that.
I actually a couple weeks ago I did a Bohemian Grove episode where I'm like, is he a dickhead? Yeah. Is he right more than he's wrong? Also, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, like, yeah, you can dislike the guy, but you can't disprove him.
Multiple things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, back to these nerds.
Okay.
Because if not, we could just keep going. Because
back to the topic of the show.
You want to talk about 9/11? No. So this guy, this was Sean Manchester. He's also the founder and president of the British Vampire Research Society.
Okay. I got to start making some research societies. And
my God, you'd just be so cool. Like, I feel like you need to get like a leather duster to do that.
Yeah. Columbine's had the duster too long. We need to take it back. So
now, were those dusters or trench coats? Because I think they're different.
Good. I don't know. All I know is you see both of them at country concerts in the 90s, and then it suddenly stopped after 2000.
Kind of makes me wonder if I'm going to get anybody hating on me for my when I do decide to finally do an IRA episode and I do the whole thing in a balaclava and a British camo jacket, because I've got both of those things.
Yeah, there's some episodes I am a little scared to do. I'm like, you don't even know the names or the groups that would come after you. That's worrisome. You know?
Yeah. It's like a friend of mine that has done some true crime stuff. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to do anything with the cartels. He's like, I live too far south to do that. Like, yeah, it's probably not a great idea.
A bad plan.
Or bikers. Bikers would be another kind of spooky one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got some of them on the list. Spoiler alert.
Got it. You gotta pay the bills, Kevin. So
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. The society claims, quote, the supernatural vampire of folklore as defined in dictionaries, encyclopedias, and nonfiction works is the matter of society's research and pursuit. I kind of take that to mean like we don't research vampires, we watch movies and read books about vampires.
Okay, I was going to say it sounded like circular logic, but I guess so they're not reading stuff. We're not readers.
Yeah, we're not researching. What are you talking about? That's retarded. Why would we look into anything we're trying to do? We're just going to go do it.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that show, What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. The vampire hunting group that like meets at like the YMCA or something. They're like, yeah, we're just gonna go do it. It's a bad idea, guys. So Manchester has written several books, including some vampire fiction, possibly some sexy vampire fan fiction.
Oh.
There's some, but we're not sure if it's his or not.
Okay.
In his book, The Highgate Vampire, Lieutenant Reverend General Bishop Manchester, added some stuff on there. I wanted to tack more on to make him sound more important. He claims to attract a vampire to its lair and watched as it transformed into a giant spider, and then he staked it through the heart and set it on fire with gasoline and a match.
So the vampire turned into a spider.
Yes, a giant spider.
Giant spider.
Yeah.
And then he staked it through the heart.
Yep.
So two things are cool about that. One, I didn't know that spiders were one of the forms that they can take. That's new information. And then two, that this guy knew where a heart on a spider was. That's also good.
The only thing that would have made it cooler is like, it turned into a spider and then I hit it with a giant shoe and set it on fire.
I had to go get a giant red wing. Fortunately, I'd crafted one.
Comes back with a 4-foot long like loafer. Die!
A la snack bar.
So where's this spider? Well, you can't find it because I burned it.
Yeah.
It's also a vampire, so it vanished when it died. It turned into ash.
Yep. Convenient.
Man, I love making stuff up too. So he's not done. In his book, From Satan to Christ, he supposedly infiltrated a loathsome cult of demon-worshipping Satanists, where he exposed the group and their practices to the world via quote-unquote sensational photographic evidence.
Huh?
And he also rescued an innocent young woman who looks a lot like his wife, his like current wife,
Oh, curious.
from the clutches of this group. Sounds like a like. So what actually happened? Oh, I showed up at Christmas dinner and I kicked her dad in the ass and I like slapped her mom around a little bit and like dragged her out of the house and we left. They're demons.
Demons.
Who eats turkey on Christmas? Satan. That's who. So now that we've met both of these idiots, we need to get into their disagreements.
Okay.
Our battle begins with two strange and contradictory tales of the supernatural, and they attacked each other mercilessly for this. Manchester and Farron each claim to tell the, quote, real story of the Highgate vampire and essentially accuse each other of being frauds. Again, like you said before, two things can be right at the same time.
Yeah, right.
This may stem from the fact that Manchester claims the title of bishop and Farron claims the title of occultist or high priest in Wicca.
Okay. The competing groups.
Yeah. This just gives off nobody wears deodorant to me.
It's a heavy, heavily air with heavy laden scents in the back of a Hobbytown, USA somewhere.
Yeah. This is two guys that would get into a fist fight at a Magic the Gathering tournament.
Exactly.
And as someone who's been to those, yeah.
You know.
Or a lot of like, actually, let me slide my glasses up here.
Actually, yeah.
So, I mean, this is most likely just like a pissing match between these two highly competitive people that have no discernible skills. When Manchester founded his British Occult Society, Farron launched his own British Psychic and Occult Society.
Oh, so he upgraded.
Yeah. I added another word to it, dork.
Yeah.
When Manchester published his book, The Highgate Vampire, Farron countered with his book called Beyond the Highgate Vampire.
Oh, it's not copying. It's not plagiarism.
No,
if you add beyond,
it's not the same thing. I got the ding, 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 dicky, ding, ding thing in there. So it's not the same.
Yeah.
Oh my God. In the late 70s, Manchester publicly challenged Farron to a series of duels.
Like it's the 1500s.
Yeah, he challenged him to one with swords,
okay,
and one where they could use only magic.
This is like LARPing. It's like old timey LARPing.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And then they put up advertisements around London for it.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah, like they're running an independent wrestling show. They went to like Kinko's and printed out a bunch of things and like stapled them to telephone poles. You're like, yeah, come watch these two losers slap fight each other in the park.
That's fun.
And that's fun. Exactly. I could picture it. They're just out there in their cloaks, and one of them drops the sword, the other one's not strong enough to pick his up, and then it just turns into
That's awesome.
Oh God. But all of this apparently happened before Bishop had gained the title. I'm sorry, before Manchester had gained the title of Bishop. So as of the time that I wrote this, Manchester maintained numerous blogs devoting and vilifying Farron and calling him an interloper. And he says that he suffers from narcissistic personality disorders.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he was talking about himself or David Farron.
I was going to say, it could be either.
Yeah. I fought demons in the bathroom at a Walmart once, so this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. These are often illustrated with photoshopped images and oil paintings that depict Farron as a demon.
Okay.
So he's keeping busy. In return, Farron was involved in the distribution of a series of comic books called The Adventures of the Bishop of Bonkers, as well as a line of Bishop Bonkers merchandise, such as t-shirts, drinking glasses, and mugs. So he made up a comic book character about this guy that he doesn't like.
You kind of get the feeling, I don't know if you get this feeling. I get the feeling that like these guys aren't really enemies. They like meet up and they're like, okay, so we're going to have a battle. I will lose. Like it's WWE style. We got to plan this out. I will lose, but I get to make a series of toys, collectibles. You write a book. You know, it's like they're like, how are we going to merchandise our TIFF?
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's just, it's so much fun. So we'll talk about some other interesting stuff that these two got up. Oh my God. Okay, I get it. Go, please. You missile.
You could,
oh my God.
If you were just in boxers, you could do an OnlyFans where it's like the people sign up to watch you live just to find out when your dog's going to attack your crotch.
I'd have the only OnlyFans where people are like, no, I'm going to give you money to put your pants back on, please.
Win-win.
Exactly.
They're already there anyway. Oh, gosh.
I'm going to keep taking clothes off until you pay me. Oh, God. So Bishop Manchester seems to have a somewhat turbulent relationship with British TV and radio. He's actually he had made a few complaints to the UK, like regarding all of this time, like he's being on TV and all this. And all of them revolve around the matter of how he should be described when they're talking about him on TV. Okay. 2 complaints made against radio stations in 2002 were actually partially upheld because he wanted to be referred to as Bishop. And they're like, we're not going to do that because you're a loser. And then he kind of sued them and they basically had to use his fake title. So the second one, he complained that they referred to him as a self-styled bishop of what he calls the old Catholic Church. So that was not good enough. So we have to change that. He's just straight up a bishop.
Like, he didn't want the extra wordy words to dilute his significance.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, listen, you guys don't get it that I'm out here hunting vampires and doing God's work. I could technically become Pope, but since you're not doing it right, I can't.
Right. It's their fault.
Yeah.
It's their fault.
I mean, if you're going to be somebody in line to become Pope but hunt vampires, I would have personally gone with a cardinal, but whatever. Yeah. The regulators decided that he was actually a bishop and they had to do this. The third complaint was made in 2006, which was in respect of the Highgate vampire hunters, including Manchester, being referred to on a Channel 4 program as 1970s weirdos. So he took offense to that, apparently. The organization Ofcom were handling this complaint and ultimately decided that in this case, calling him a 1970s weirdo was actually a fair comment. So they didn't have to do anything about that. In part of their weirdo judgment, Ofcom stated, quote, Bishop Manchester had not denied that he had in the past carried out an exorcism, and he was published describing the traditional methods of dispatching a vampire as being to drive a stake through its heart before beheading it and incinerating the remains. And Bishop Manchester had himself claimed in his own book to have violently dispatched the Highgate vampire by tracking it down, kicking the lid off its coffin, driving a stake through its heart, and burning the remains. So that's why we don't see it anymore. It's because he killed it.
Yep.
Van Helsing style.
Yep.
Except he stocks shelves at Tesco or something.
Van Tesco.
So if we follow Ofcom's decision, which His Grace had elsewhere encouraged us to do, there's no doubt that he's actually a bishop and also technically a weirdo.
Yeah.
But he's the other problem with this guy is he's got a Nazi room, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2012, a man named Kevin Chessman published photos of a room in Manchester's home where he described as, quote, a massed amount of Nazi paraphernalia, framed photographs of goose-stepping Nazis and German officers giving the Hitler salute, swastikas on the wall, and most strikingly, a photograph of Adolf Hitler over his mantle, like where you put like your grandpa or something.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, you go from being a weirdo to being like a weirdo, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, I've talked about Nazis a lot on here on my show, but I don't have like a secret room.
Swag. Yeah.
No, I'd show it off. I don't have a secret room. I'm not going to hide it.
Right. If you've got it, flaunt it. But
exactly.
Yeah.
I found all this stuff in my grandpa's basement. A former friend of Manchester, this chessman guy, says he was photographed in the room. Yeah, he was photographed in the room by the bishop's wife as a form of blackmail insurance.
He was photographed. So he wanted the photo proof as blackmail insurance.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Manchester's wife has a picture of Chessman in the room, so that if anything goes wrong, they can be like, no, he's actually the Nazi. It's in our house, but it's all his stuff. We're just holding on to it for him, you know?
Yeah. It's like the drug dealer that's like, so what? These aren't even my pants.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not mine. I'm holding it for a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, this is a bunch of Nazi stuff. Yeah, no, he's just moving. But why is it all displayed?
Right.
I didn't have room in the closet, so I put it on the walls. Manchester issued a counter blog claiming that his historical military collection was a hobby. It had been misrepresented and vilified by Chessman, who was actually the real Nazi.
Mm, okay.
Ferrant had a bit of a habit of declaring thaumaturgical war. That's the word. Thaumaturgy is the capability of a magician or a saint to work magic or miracles.
Okay.
So he's doing magic war on people, especially people that disagree with him, including people that have never met him, who wrote letters to him, or that wrote letters into this pagan newspaper that often called him a nerd in public.
A lot of people are giving these guys some time. It doesn't sound like he likes any of them, though. It doesn't like any of the titles they're giving him.
In 2012, Ferrant sought to turn a private estate in Yorkshire, reputed to be the site of Robin Hood's grave, where he claims to have exorcised evil spirits earlier that year, into what he referred to as a paranormal tourist attraction. Sketches posted to his blog reveal plans to move the grave, which obviously, if you're going to move Robin Hood's grave, you're going to create some restless spirits with all that. He wants to move that to put in an IMAX theater and a restaurant, and a golf course on the property, because it's got to be a tourist attraction. So we have to have a little bit of something for everybody.
Okay.
And Robin Hood's ghost is just not enough. You got to be able to watch like Transformers or whatever at the IMAX too. So where are they now? Again, yes, I picked on these guys for being dorks through this whole thing. But I also pulled myself away from gluing Warhammer 40K figures together and watching lore videos, because I'm a man. Like, I'm not a nerd. I don't do dorky stuff. So I'm not just like throwing rocks at these guys for doing something that they enjoy, which is being odd in public. David Ferrant didn't live to see the 50th anniversary of the panic that he helped to kind of start with everything. He died April 2019 at the age of 73. So obviously the vampire didn't bite him, unfortunately, or else he'd still be around. Up until the very end, he remained a fixture of the Highgate Cemetery. He's like often like being seen at local pubs, giving talks about the vampire that he claimed to have seen in the shadows. He never backed down from his version of the events, but he also never really escaped any of the legal or societal stuff that he had whipped up back in the 70s. What's weird though is he actually became like very important in like the occult research community in London. And a lot of these people are like, no, he's actually kind of like a groundbreaking figure. Like without him, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the stuff that we're doing. So, and if you're looking for Sean Manchester, you better have like a compass and a lot of patience, because he's now in his late 70s, early 80s, somewhere in there. and he's pretty much vanished from the public eye. He bought a small house out in the middle of nowhere, like surrounded by a swamp, basically. And he turned himself into, a little bit of a hermit. He still holds the title of bishop within his own created Catholic church. But his vampire hunting days are behind him. He claims the Highgate vampire was destroyed by his own hand back in the 70s. So in his mind, case closed. There's no more vampires to hunt. It was only the one ever.
You got it.
Yeah, got him. Yeah, it's like the was it the Barack Obama thing with Bin Laden? Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him. My favorite was Bush on the big warship. We did it, or whatever.
Mission accomplished
Mission
banner.
accomplished, and it was like so far away from being mission accomplished.
They hit the mission accomplished banner, and then like you have the SpongeBob thing. 19 years later.
Yeah.
So he also doesn't grant he doesn't grant interviews anymore. He basically just lets his work and his books speak for him. But he's still alive and being strange in England somewhere. But that's what I've got for the Highgate vampire stuff. Man,
it's good. I don't know. There's just always I'm always impressed. I'm impressed with criminals that seem to have just an uncanny ability of getting away with it, and ultra nerd creatives that can create whole worlds. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you get a Lord of the Rings, Yep. Sometimes you officially have set up an official national LARPing society. A lot of the time it doesn't work.
Yeah. But the times it does, it sticks around. I mean,
yeah.
It's like I like look at for example, look at like Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
And how that was perceived back in the 80s and early 90s, where it's like it's evil.
Yeah.
It's a tool of the devil, and then now it's on Netflix, and everybody knows what it is now, and you can't just be a dork anymore. You can't be a nerd anymore because everybody is.
Yeah. It's not cool to be a dork.
Yeah. My mom watches Big Bang Theory, and she's like, "Oh my God, you'd love this show. They talk about all the stuff that you're into." I'm like, they're not real nerds. Nobody has that much interest across so many things. We focus on just a couple of them.
Right.
These guys are mixing Lord of the Rings and Star Trek references. No, this is scripted. This isn't real. Come with me on a Wednesday when I go to the game store and paint stuff, and you'll see.
You'll see.
You'll see.
You've never seen so many pewter dice. It's impressive.
When I show up with my gray pile of shame and a toolbox full of paint, you'll see. I'll show you.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
Hey man, I appreciate you coming on. This was fun.
I'm glad. I'm happy I was here. I don't think I've done a history goon with you. So
you're only the oh my God. I think you're like the third guest I've had on.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a lot of fun. I'm a huge history buff. I love it. I loved when you showed up, and I was like, oh yes, this fits. So, and you're an OG. You at the point you'd been doing it, you had hundreds of other episodes. So it was like a no brainer.
My old show was one episode shy of episode 300.
Yeah, it hurts my heart to know that. And
the thing that sucks is episode 300 for that show is going to be a topic that I cover on here.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm going to have a hard time with it because I started all the research when my entire life fell apart.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, not only do I have to relive that, but I also have to read and talk about Japanese war crimes during World War II that are just would make the Nazis cry.
Yeah.
Bad.
Well, I got an idea. What you should do is, because you might have a couple fans, listeners of your old show that don't know that you're here doing History Goon. Maybe you should do that the 300th episode branded with the cover art of that other show.
Oh man.
And be like, it's a History Goon joint. I'm bringing back my old show for one more episode, and it's History Goon, but it's not. But it is, but it's not.
Yeah, that could be that could be interesting. I mean, I did like when I first found out that I was going to be doing this show, I went onto the Facebook page for the old one. I was like, hey, this show's dead, but I'm starting something new. And
Yeah.
then within like, I don't know, like 4 hours, I had like 70 people on the new Facebook page. I was like, all right, cool,
Okay.
cool. Like,
Traction.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's it's gonna be a not fun episode.
Yeah, that's a
And then
Louis
like
us one, but
the dude that organized all of it, we just let him go because
yeah. Oh, that
Douglas
sucks.
MacArthur's a genius.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll listen to it for
Oh,
sure. I'm a big fan. So
hey, you know what? I've got season 3 coming up here in the I don't know, like 6 weeks or whatever. When season 2's done, that's how that would work, right?
nice.
Maybe
Yes.
we'll look
Well,
into something gross.
I'll argue that for a second. See, I just did episode 200 of the 911 Calls podcast. We're at like 343 with the NeverDaily
Mhm.
podcast, but 200 because the 911 call is a little more heavy lifting,
Yeah.
And so, but I had a plan for episode 200. I had a guest. I had a special guest. A 2-time Oscar winner was going to be on the show because they're a fan of the show, and I was like, "Will you be on my 200?" And they were like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I'd love to be." And so I was like, "Okay." So
It's like,
I was prepping
yay.
that and holding off, but logistically I couldn't make it happen and I had to keep putting down episodes. So I did 199 and then 199A, B, and C. So I you can play with your own
That's
you
true, yeah.
play with your own numbers.
Oh,
But
and actually, like, we were talking about that a little bit beforehand. So in a previous career, because I've had 1,000 jobs, um, I used to work for a vending machine company. So I'd
oh,
go through and I'd like refill like machines and all that. And there's a place here in a town called Stockbridge, which is out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. It's an animation. It's an animation place where it's like, okay, like, I'm thinking before I go there, they're like just a bunch of guys like drawing cartoons or whatever. Um, and I walk through the door and there's like a 6.5 foot tall velociraptor in the lobby. I'm like, what the hell is that's from Jurassic Park?
yeah,
Okay. And I started talking to one of the guys and he's like, yeah, man, we did all the robotics for that. Like we created all of the
really?
dinosaurs for the original Jurassic Park. Like, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're
Is
work
it I'm trying to was that Vermont? Where
yeah,
was that? Was it in
yeah,
Vermont?
yep.
There's I'm trying to remember because I'm a huge well, I went to school for computer animation, so I know a lot of those animation houses.
Was
There's one called Advanced Animation
that's
that's
it.
in. Is that it?
Yep.
Dude, that's
That's
awesome.
it. Yeah. I was like, this place is super cool. Like,
People want to go to Disneyland for buck. I'm like, no, I'll take an animation house any day. That's I want to go there. You know.
like I had somebody at work like, what do you got vacation coming up? What are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to plan a trip with my brother to like Arlington because I think that'd be cool to go like
Yeah,
cry in public
yeah.
again.
Have you been to Salem?
Yeah, Salem's cool.
Okay.
Yep.
I haven't been. I haven't been. So I've got a couple bucket list trips to go back east, but I'm such a dork that I'm like, I told my kids and my wife and everything, I'm like, I will go alone if you're not in for the trip because like trip one is like, it's 2 weeks and we're just hitting like the Met and we're hitting just museums. It's 2 weeks of museums. Cause you hit one of those and
Oh
you
yeah.
think you're going to do it in a day and you're like, you barely hit floor one.
Right.
So I've got like 3 trips like that planned back east because I'm going to soak it in when I go. So
Yeah. If you go to Salem, make sure you go to Count Orlok's.
Count Orlocks.
It is
Okay.
a wax museum of like movie monsters.
Ooh.
It is so cool. The only thing that it's kind of a bummer is they don't let you take pictures.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
you got to just memorize what you saw.
Yeah. It was funny. Like when we went, it was it was that first year when COVID like was first like starting to become a thing.
Yeah.
And it was me, my wife, and my co-host from my previous show all went just kind of like, to go down. And we're in line at this place, and there's like, there's the whole big line. And the guy that owns the place comes out and he's like, I've got 3 tickets. I've got one more tour of 3 before we close. and there's 3 dudes in front of us that are dressed in like, in like polo shirts and like khakis and stuff. And I'm standing there in like nasty old jeans, a black sweatshirt, and like a denim vest with a hood on it.
Yeah.
He looks at these guys and he goes, you 3 can come up. The guys in front of him are like, what the hell? And I'm like,
heck?
sorry, dude. Like,
They
you
look
guys
like
tourists.
devotees. Come
Yeah.
on up.
It's like this guy knows what he's looking for. But yeah, that was cool. The whole thing is like, it's basically a giant tourist trap, but that's also kind of like the thing I'm into. I love that weird, like kitschy,
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it, so I opened a tab and pulled it up, and I instantly went to their shop. And yeah, it's like it's like Halloween Express.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
the
awesome.
shop is. But I love places like that. I love horror conventions. I never went to one until Kent told me to go. And I feel like I don't belong when I go at all, but I love it. I've got my own little corner in my own brain and heart for that stuff. And I might not know all the characters by name or the directors by the
Right.
back of my hand, but
I don't know who played that guy under the mask.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, this was a lot of fun, Kevin. I appreciate you having me on here. Hopefully you'll have me on again. I'd love to come.
Absolutely. Yeah, whenever you want.
Be a lot of fun.
So run through the plugs quick. You go over to Patreon, patreon.com/1159 media. $5 a month gets you early access and backdoor access to a bunch of stuff. Gets you early access to History Goon. Gets you early access to Guestnicity with Luther. Gets you early access to 911 calls with the operator. Gets you early access and backdoor access to the NeverDaily with Sam and whoever. And
yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out.
It changed.
I know I've mentioned it before, and I'm like, I've never seen Sam and Op in the same place. So I don't know if it's a Batman situation or something.
Yeah,
but
I'm not sure they're the same person either.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
they look similar, but something's different.
And sometimes they'll even release episodes at the same time, but that's because Sam and the Op are both poor time managers. So that's why that happens. So
that's why I fit in well.
Yeah, it's
I'm
great.
bad at that too. And you also get Almost Fiction with Chase.
Yep.
Which hopefully we'll see some new stuff soon. I don't know what the situation is there, but I know he had to move and stuff. But
yeah, logistics. So we'll see.
Life be lifing.
Yep.
But
Well, this was fun.
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. YouTube is like trying to push people there because it seems like I get a lot of comments over there from people just being YouTube. So
I get none. So that's awesome. That's cool. You get some.
I had a guy that's like, he commented on something related to a different short, and he's like, oh, this is coming from the guy who's being super edgy and making jokes about us committing war crimes in Laos and Cambodia. And I'm like, yeah, we did. Like,
I don't.
Whoops.
It was a bad thing. We did it.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, we weren't supposed to be there. We maybe bombed a bunch of them. Whoopsies. Like, if you've listened to any part of my show, you'll know that I'm telling you stuff about history, but I'm also not taking it super seriously.
Yeah. Also, and this isn't a Rand McNally history book. This is how it really was. So
I'm not Dan Carlin. I hang drywall for a living. So like,
exactly.
If you want Dan Carlin, who I love, go listen to Dan Carlin.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, and we're all going to die someday. So go out and do some goon shit and leave a mark on the world. Maybe like these guys did. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Bye.